This podcast was prepared by the Digression Method. The opinions expressed in this show are those of the hosts and do not reflect the view of the scientists, the Department of Education, or the United States Science Board.
Whenever life gets you down, Mrs. Brown, and things seem hard or tough, and people are stupid, obnoxious, or daft, and you feel that you've had quite enough. Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour. That's orbiting at 19 miles a second, so it's reckoned. The sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day. In an outer spiral arm at 400,000.
Welcome back. We are here for this. What are you? 1 year.
The 1 year extravaganza.
1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things that we've learned and a lot of things that we have endorsed throughout the year. We may endorse some more horrible things, but
I don't want
it's
to
okay.
endorse anymore.
It's okay. I don't believe in any of it.
We're not responsible for anything we say.
We determined that what we say,
we don't endorse.
we don't even endorse that.
But it's, despite all the crazy stuff, we've had quite a year. I mean, we started off as science talks, and that was fun.
26 episodes?
I think it's 25, 26.
Quite a
I'm not
few.
100% sure.
And they were like long. They were like hour.
Easily, yeah. Like the
So that's like
majority
26
of
hours.
them.
That's like
Yeah, we had a whole month. We have a whole month's worth of science talks.
Backlog.
yeah.
And there's a couple episodes we didn't. That one episode where we were on the Xbox. That was, I had fun. That sucks that episode didn't come out because of, the audio, but it was just so fun. We're all like on the Xbox at my I forget what's like the maze, top of the maze bank, the CEO thing.
The office.
At the desk.
At the table.
Sitting there. Oh, and then that was the first episode that what might have been the first. I forget if we only did it like once or twice where we live broadcasted on Twitch for that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then your buddy joined, and that's one thing. This is a recap about stuff that we've heard or we learned from doing this, and he said something that really stuck with me. I still remember, and he said, religion holds society back, and then it's like hearing that, and I'm not very religious, but it just kind of stuck with me. And then I hear other things where it just led to me trying to find out if that's actually true, which I obviously can't answer that, but was able to look and hear about, the USSR or whatever. They were kind of ultra communism, no religion. It's like, well, it didn't
That was
work.
not
it
that
didn't
great
work out
either.
there, but it was just a good, I guess, exercise for thinking. It's like, oh yeah, obviously, X, something without religion's, better. And it's like, well, man, that's not even true. So it's just a good thing for me to ponder. And that was just such a side note. And it wasn't an article. It's just a little comment that I still remember. I'm like,
I still like the main comment that we made all the way back a year ago. Get over yourself. Like that message just stuck with me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like I'll hear people whining and I'll be like, stay humble.
Yeah, it's like, pull yourself
that's
off
the best way
pedestal,
that I can
man.
say it, dude, because if I say get over yourself, you'll probably fucking punch me.
Yeah, you definitely get my opinion matters. Like, man, no it doesn't. None of ours does.
Sure it does. Yeah. Sure your opinion matters.
Just get over yourself. We're all
Everybody's
about
entitled
science.
to their opinion, even if it is wrong.
Yeah. It's like, you can have a wrong opinion. I don't care. It doesn't affect me.
Just don't force it down my neck.
Yeah.
I love all the things that we endorsed. I don't care. I love it because
Hey, just take it a stand.
honestly,
we just say we don't endorse
we
this
don't
stuff.
endorse it.
We're not responsible. Then
So,
it's like, I love it.
You know what? I do love it because we live in such a PC world now where like you can't have bold opinions about things, or you can't endorse certain things because it's not acceptable by everybody. But at the end of the day, like, you know,
What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones?
well,
Yeah.
and we're not the only people that have those ideas, that have those endorsements, you know. So it's like most of
Right.
us just don't get an opportunity or a platform to say it. So I mean, you know, when you have an hour to work
A lot
with,
of
and
people
you,
are afraid to say it,
yeah,
but we don't have much of a. We have a platform, but it's like I'm not really afraid of anything I've said on the show. It's like
we're not gonna get shut
We're not.
down by the FCC because they really don't give a shit about us.
Right? We're a small fry in the sea of fishes.
So whatever, we can endorse
it's been
what
a
we
fun
can
year.
endorse.
I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I look forward to it every week, and I just like how I'm just more conscious of what's going on in like the world of science generally. You can't say like, I'm picking up on everything, but you're actively looking for stuff, for articles and cool things to talk about. You're like, I'll bring that to the show, and you just see such. There's been so many articles that I have not talked about that I wish it's like I should save them so I could talk about them. But there's always new stuff.
Go back and recap, and it's like,
Yeah, it's like,
oh man,
this is
this is
4
back
years
from
old.
like 3 years ago, but I felt like it, you know, it was important enough.
This is current events. 3 years is recent.
It's current in history, you know, as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean,
It was within the last
7
decade.
billion trillion years old for the universe. I mean, 3 years is nothing.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
the
dropping a
problem.
bucket.
So there's not enough time, even if we had the hour. But
That's why, you know, we have these social media platforms so you can jump out and, you know, read what articles we don't mention. And, you know,
Definitely have
the same guy who said that religion holds society back pointed it out to me the other day that a lot of times I just post whatever onto the social media page. And some of it does end up as clickbait, but, I mean, look into it. See what's true about it. See what's bullshit about it. Like, that's the fun part, is, like, do your own weigh in on articles that you feel may not be 100% legit.
yeah, and bring them to us.
Yeah,
Tell
or
us
present
that, you
something
need
that
to check
you
this
find
out.
interesting.
And the cool thing is we don't, like try to. I'm not all about that. Oh, fake news! Everything's fake news or whatever. It's like
Fake news.
We don't post. We're not going to show you an article that's blatantly wrong or bad. It's like we're trying to keep it grounded in reality, and you're not going to get a bunch of crap. It'll just be cool stuff. It's like, I wish I could talk about this, but I thought this was cooler. I had like 3 articles this week, and I was like, oh wait, no, we're doing the recap show. I was like, oh well, then they're all going to disappear, and I'll find another one, but still cool stuff.
Finding those articles too. I mean, like, you know, we're not in a lab coat here. You know, we're not true scientists in the idea that like we have those
Not a
degrees.
scientist.
I mean, you
No,
kind
we
of
know a
have
scientist.
a degree that could lean towards some science, I guess, like the anthropology
People,
type thing, you know, like
Or
Mr.
bones.
Indiana Jones over here.
Yeah, I do want a journalism degree too. That adds some credibility to this thing as well.
So I'm a proper journalist, and I'm an anthropologist, so come on. Hook it up. That'd be good,
Give me
because
that.
I'm not a scientist. We need a scientist on the show.
Yes, we know a couple scientists.
We do have our...
Yeah.
I can only
But-
think
but the
of
point I
Max
was gonna
as being
make-
our resident scientist. He's our
Right.
he's our guy.
But the point I was going to make there is that, like, when we find these articles, you know, we would just be like you finding them. And I find when I go to look for these articles, I'm not just reading the science articles. I am reading, like, the world articles. I'm reading the technology articles. I'm reading everything that the news has to offer on that particular day. So it helps me not only gain focus in science, but also focus on what else is going on around me.
Yeah, there's a
Which-
lot of... There's just you so many different articles. There's a lot of them that I look at and I go, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have this be 10 minutes. You know, it's not like we each do 10 minutes exactly. But, you know, we have our little time that we'll talk about it. And there's a bunch of them that I'm like, I don't know if this is going to go the whole distance. So it's like, I'll just like it on the, Digression Method Twitter and see what happens. But you just, even those little articles just make you think on a global scale where you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that's happening. So I don't know, I just like having such a wide array of articles to look for, and world medicine or technology or space. At first, for the science talks, everything I had was just space.
Right.
Every article just...
You were very spaced out.
It was just all, oh yeah, way out there. But now I've kind of switched it, and I like it. I like it.
So I went up to our local high school today. I saw our buddy Jake give a speech, an inspirational speech, and I kind of talked with him about it a little bit. And it was one of those things where he talked about his struggles when he was doing like public speaking, as far as he started off with like an article that was like, or like something he wanted to talk about, where if he had 2 hours to talk about it, he had 2 hours worth of writing. But what he found was that it complicated things, made you too stiff, you couldn't communicate with your people. So he had to simplify what he was going to talk about and then take these general ideas and then just elaborate on them kind of naturally.
Yeah, that's the one thing about picking an article is if I'm talking about it, I've read it and I've picked up all the little things that I like about it, and I don't have to sit there and keep reading it because you're like, well, this is just so cool. I already have like an interest in it, so you can just kind of naturally talk about it.
Here's 3 bullet points I want you that I pulled from the article that I really liked, and then we can talk about those.
There's so many
and that's
times,
the thing that I like too. Like,
get to those
because I was in a show called This Is Job Corps back in 6 years ago now, 7 years ago. It was just a radio show in Astoria that was like public speaking, basically, like talking about what was going on in Job Corps. What I found is that like they had their scripts all laid out and shit, and they wanted me to follow something, but I would be like, I got this, and I'd go up there and like, I think I've carried that over into this show, is the fact that like I'll read something, and sometimes if it's like having to do with data and stuff, I'll read verbatim, but a lot of times it's just it makes such a difference in the flow. Because you don't sound all robotic. And
I talked with somebody about the idea of like either an improv group or like how we are talking about doing videos. And one of the things, Nevin, one of the things we talked about there is that
the show.
Sometimes people just can't act on camera. We had on the show the Fazell brothers. And he was talking about a time out at their house where like he just had a camera running when they were walking around, and it's like they couldn't talk normally on the camera.
Yeah, that's so the camera and the microphone. Some people, it just does that weird thing where they know that they're being picked up by this thing that other people are going to hear, so they just immediately you start censoring and you start kind of closing down.
Or you get that radio announcer voice, like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
speak from the diaphragm." Yuck. Yeah, that weird stiff formula. It's like, no.
Or you try and be impressive.
I like that. Yeah.
It's like, no. Doesn't work.
So it's like it is about the free.
We can tell how
it's about the free form. It's about being able to just have a conversation. Because before we turn the mic on, we have a conversation just like we are now.
So many times we had to start. I remember, like, we would have the conversation about the article before the mic's on, and then it's like, okay, and then we're like, well, we were saying before the podcast, it's like, no, we just need to repeat it because we're saying all the good stuff before we even start.
The one-liners lose their power the second time around. I know it's the first time for you, but for us it's like
you feel weird. You're like, I'm just repeating exactly what I said 5 minutes ago.
Genuine response.
But this is the best stuff. It's that improv.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Like, I didn't really listen to too many episodes and make sure that they're like the intro is good and everything's good. I don't remember if we were really stiff in the beginning. Like,
I remember we were all a bit nervous the first show.
At least the first couple. Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm talking on the mic, but I don't remember being like.
I don't think any of us were necessarily stiff, but
too
like
robotic. Yeah.
It was more like we didn't know how to go about like taking baby steps to figure out like how was this gonna work.
The transition. We're for how we digressed off into whatever. We were not very good at transitioning from article to article. Yeah. I remember so many times where I'd want to be like, okay, let's do this, and then next thing you know, we're going 15 more minutes down the rabbit hole, and it's like, oh.
And you just gotta leave it after a while. Like, that is the formula. That's I mean, that's what we do.
But if we rein it in a little bit more, we're like, we at least like put an end to each rabbit hole. That's the problem with the last format was, and why we now have a half-hour show instead of the hour, is that like if you run down the rabbit hole too long, you start to go to some dark places. You start to get to some endorsements that you maybe don't even endorse, but you're like, I don't really know how to stop this freight train.
We need to stop this.
Okay, I'm going to put an end to that.
Okay, so space.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
All right, so
Going into my article.
Yeah,
just 180 this
awkward.
bitch real quick. And I remember there was also at the beginning kind of that fear of like messing up, or if I said like 60,000, it was supposed to be 50,000. I was like, I just committed like that media sin. You know, like fake news.
Fake news, yeah.
Fake news.
Go for it.
Exactly, you know? Like, so that was like the other thing. You want to be like, you want to almost be like a news person, where you're like, I'm giving you the facts as I know them, as my producer told me them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man. I'm doing it now. Before the podcast, we were talking, and it's like we would digress so much to where we came up with the didgeridoo army.
Yeah.
I mean, what? We haven't talked about that one time in any
Yeah,
of the episodes now. Nothing.
The didgeridoo army,
AJ bought a didgeridoo.
I have a didgeridoo.
Yeah. And it has not shown up once.
It showed up one time. It did show up one time.
No, on the Digression Method, not at all. There was that one episode where we're recording it. It's like 11 o'clock at night as we're recording. And I have my grandma here, and she's just sitting there. I'm like, dude, stop. It's 11 o'clock.
They're fun. I mean, I do recommend you get one, and then you sign up for the Didgeridoo
the
Army.
Didgeridoo will make an appearance next episode.
Yeah.
You count on it. It
yeah,
will be back.
We've got to.
I'll make sure I
That's
bring it back
one thing
over.
that I've realized though too. In this year, that is going to be a very expensive project.
we knew it was going to be expensive to start. I mean, we're still not going to pay anything more than like
10 cents.
Than like.
Oh, yeah, that's
we're not paying anything over $5.
AJ's like, we are lowballing some producer.
I mean, because we're buying 1 million of them. Okay, like.
That was 60,000.
Oh yeah,
50,000. It wasn't a million.
59,999. You know, we're buying that many.
Or 997 because we'll have our own.
Yeah. Well, so far there's only been one purchase. So until you purchase
Mr.
yours,
Jinx?
we're not taking those tallies off the wall.
Yeah. Mr. Jinx was gonna be
Dr. Jinx. Yeah.
Dr. Jinx.
Dr. Jinx. He was.
Oh.
Yeah, he was our.
So weird. And then it evolved from 60,000 or 50,000 people to like
being in CenturyLink Field.
Yeah, CenturyLink Field, and then like
Because that's the place that houses enough seats. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we thought like 50,000 for some reason was going to be like some huge area. And
Something.
It's like, no, it's just a stadium. Like,
Something
it's
happened
60,000
too.
person stadiums.
Was there also
Those are
an
small
addition?
stadiums.
Wasn't there also an addition of like small people or something?
I didn't
where-
want to say it. I was about to spit it out just now, and I was like, how do I dance around that one and be like,
we added
little
small
people, so we
yeah.
doubled the number where you got.
Yeah.
They were gonna
But it
have
was 2 to
Oh.
a
Yeah, they
seat,
had their
you know?
own in like little.
No, they
what was
said-
it, like little baby packs?
Yeah,
like on
it
people.
was gonna be,
Oh, yeah.
having a little person, one person has a didgeridoo, and the little
What did
person
he
has
have?
something else that
I
I
know.
don't remember.
What was it? Damn it!
I don't remember what it was. It was like triangles, or I don't know.
It was
It
definitely
was
something
Or
else.
kazoos. I think it was kazoos.
Oh, it was kazoos. Yeah,
God.
yeah, that's what it was. So now we need like
Now I'm glad they haven't
60,000.
talked about it. Now I'm like, no wonder it disappeared.
Now
Because
we,
it got so weird.
now we need 60,000. What would be of like quote unquote average or normal height people? We need like 60,000 smaller to many people.
And they,
We need
and we will be in a hot air
60,000
balloon
kazoos.
as we watch the world implode.
60,000.
No, the Cthulhu is
didgeridoos.
going to rise from the ocean, right? Because we're
Yeah.
doing this in CenturyLink. So
Hot air
like,
balloon.
Yeah,
that's-
we're going to cause the great mega quake of the Pacific Northwest. Like, sorry, guys.
California will break off and become its own island.
You know, and now that I'm kind of thinking about the hot air balloon and just kind of, you know, what's going to probably happen, maybe we shouldn't have that. Because, like, volcanic eruptions, they're going to, like, burn through the balloon. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything that gets launched into the air.
Oh, no.
So
I
maybe
think I'll
we...
take being in the hot air balloon and be on the ground when, like, tsunamis are happening and the Earth's falling apart.
Well, no, but
Or
I'm just
Cthulhu-
maybe not
Cthulhu's
that.
just
We
breaking through and
need like something different. We need like a Zeppelin or something. You know, like
well, you know what?
Yes, because that's a smart idea. Because one little
Look at the Hindenburg. Only humanity.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out in a blaze of glory. So like, you're gonna have to risk it to get the biscuit
Yeah, you
on
gotta
that
risk
one.
it to get the biscuit.
Because then we can sell more tickets on said like Hindenburg 2. We'll even call it that.
Oh, I don't know, dude. Now we're getting to another weird place of Okay.
Another endorsement.
No, it's all a part of the
We
plan.
will create the Hindenburg 2
Yeah.
and call from the depths of the underworld Cthulhu with didgeridoos and
Didgeridoo kazoos. Didgeridoo kazoos.
And what was it all going to be in C sharp? Because like that's the
Yeah,
Oh, we're
that's
gonna
the
go for the
resonant
brown
tone.
we were
of,
trying to hit the brown note.
the
So
brown note or whatever.
at least the very least
it-
that will happen is everybody will shit their pants.
Wait, was it the brown note?
It was
Or
the brown
was it
note
there?
at first, and then I was thinking
I was gonna say, I don't think it
if we
was.
wanted to actually have some effect on the Earth, then it would be a C sharp because it's a resonant tone of Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to like
Recorders, I
crack
love
the
that.
Earth. I'd rather summon an ancient sea monster than crack the Earth for sure.
Is that better though? Is it?
I feel like if you crack the Earth, like it kills everybody. While like you might have a
Well, I think
chance to beat the
Cthulhu's
sea
gonna
monster.
Kill everybody as it is. If you summon this creature from another dimension, I think they can split the Earth.
Well, it
at
depends
will.
on which dimension, of course. Maybe it comes
I
from a
don't know.
dimension where oxygen is fire, so it comes in here and it just
We
burns
summoned
up.
him. Ah! Just bursts into flame.
Yeah.
We killed him. Yes.
Meat forever.
Oh, send Cthulhu or whatever over to Africa. Like, here you go. Feed the poor.
Dinner for
Wow, it's quite a
Yeah.
digression.
Look at that. Look at what just happened. We just became like, heroes. Like, we just won a Nobel Prize, and you thought our idea was stupid.
We just want to make your dream come true, Dewey.
That was the master plan the entire time. We were saving the part where we
Lex
were
Luthor
heroes.
in this bitch.
We wanted that to be your idea, not ours, but it just happened. So,
Sorry.
there you go.
It's ours.
It's ours. It's our idea.
There's been a lot of those moments too, where we're like, "This is our idea." Like nobody gets it. Nobody gets to make a movie from it because we've said it here first.
Yeah. See, now I'm forgetting what we. I'm just trying to remember. Like, wait a second. We have done that quite a few times. Where we're like, you don't get to make a movie about this. This is ours.
Yeah,
This
we
is
claim
ours.
it.
It's our idea. Claimed it. Copyright.
It's not even
trademark.
like movie. It's like just our idea in general. Like, yeah,
Just
just
randomness.
ideas that have been like, yes.
It's amazing how you just create something crazy out of nothing. You have no direction, but then next thing you know, you come up with this crazy idea. And we're like, all right, we're trademarking that. Audio trademark.
They're like Kramer moments, where like, Jay, I've got a great idea.
Just slide it. Hey, I got something for you. Man, was there any particular articles you guys recall from the last year that? I mean, we've talked about random stuff we've picked up or that we've changed as time's gone on and as we've done the show. But is there any particular? We've done a lot of articles. Like every time there's an article, and if we didn't do that, there's only like.
There's only a handful of times where we've like done like conspiracies or sci-fi to
a
fact,
specific way in or a sci-fi to fact for like a whole episode.
and that's only recently. Like we
Yeah.
did 26 episodes of
Articles and a weigh-in.
articles and a way,
Or
and
articles and a sci-fi.
then yep, there was only like a handful of those.
I think we've only done one weigh-in for the digression method. I could be wrong. And I think we talked about time. I remember that one. I like that episode. The Weight of Time. It's a good one.
The weight of time. No, so I like how a lot of our articles always revolve around the same things. Like, we always talk about bees. Like, there was a period of time that we always
There's at
talked
least
about
4 or 5
Australia.
episodes about bees or New Zealand or
Exactly, like New Zealand.
planets. I mean,
Like
Octopi.
Exactly, there's been
Yeah, there's at
octopus
least
or
one or
at
two
least
of
like
those.
some kind of whale. Man, what else? I mean, we
Exoplanets.
do talk about
lots of
exoplanets a lot.
exoplanets,
Gravitational waves.
probes and stuff. Yeah, we've gravitational waves have or popped up at least once or twice. And I don't think we've talked about.
We've also
We
talked
mentioned
about
that there was going to be the big announcement of gravitational findings in the last episode, but we haven't talked about it yet. Which they released that 2 neutron stars collided, and that created these crazy gravitational waves through the universe, and that I can't remember exactly all that was about it, but I remember tuning in the next day or the day we released it and being like, "Ooh, more gravitational wave talk, crazy ripples through space time."
Well, and there was something about like how
Crazy
something happened in
gold.
space that produced like an ungodly amount of gold.
Yeah, I think it's like when things like neutron stars collide, they create atoms and elements like gold, or not atoms but elements like gold and stuff. And it's like, it's crazy that
Go harvest that. Space
Yeah.
pirates.
yeah,
we do talk a lot too about like basically
the infinite
alternative
sea.
fuel sources of the future, like the star in the jar or the device that basically collects light and bounces around inside and creates its own self-propulsion with nothing.
Oh yeah,
And
the EM drive.
the EM drive.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Man.
So we always talk about things like that too, where it's like the hypotheticals on like how are we going to get to these places like Mars?
I love the star in the jar and like the radioactive battery that produces its own energy, just because we're so, when in the scheme of the universe or whatever, we're still like infants, we're barely out there, and so everything we find is like always, for me at least, whenever I find stuff, it's like a lot. I'm so interested in it because it's going to help exploration.
Yeah.
So like that radioactive battery, that I just thought that was the coolest thing, because you just stick some good solar panels on some probe or whatever, and then you put that little battery, this radioactive thing, diamond, but it's just producing its own electricity, so you can just send like a Voyager probe off and it will have electricity for like 4,000 years. And that's the coolest ever. It's so cool.
Speaking of Mars, though, we are officially going to Mars in May of 2018.
Digression Method will be there. We have our ticket.
We representing.
Whoop whoop. We have our ticket.
In sight.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Indeed.
I just hope like everything goes well. I hope we make it, because I just don't want our digression method. I don't want us to just be floating aimlessly in space.
Get lost in space.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully some alien will be like,
I mean, that's like the ultimate form of digression
think
at that
so.
point.
the infinite digression.
Just digress deeper into the cataclysm of space.
Just go launching off.
NASA's been
Eventually,
pretty
we all
successful on a
fall
lot
into
of
the
their
center,
missions,
right? Eventually.
so knock on wood.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing about the universe. It's like, is there enough gravity to pull everything in eventually into a big crunch? Or is the expansion of the universe too fast to where gravity can't catch everything and it will just go cold?
Wasn't that the difference between like an infinite or a bounded universe? Is that one that expands faster than it sucks in is infinite, and one that expands slower than it sucks in would be bounded?
Probably, yeah, it sounds right. I mean, I don't know. Just,
Yeah.
will the expansion ever stop? Is it infinite?
We don't endorse any of our own ideas here.
That is the question.
Trails off into oblivion,
It's,
like we do.
they say it's infinite and unbinding, our universe.
As far as you can tell, it's not going to
Yeah.
run into anything, so
I mean, I ain't seen anything to tell me otherwise
yeah,
yet.
just keep going. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, I
It's
think
been a
that's
glorious year, though,
yeah,
and
good recap for our 1 year.
indeed.
It's always new things that we're looking for in the year to come as well. You know, like we have heard other feedback. We've talked about it before, but the idea of like getting videos out there and things like that. We're always
Getting
looking
videos, live casts.
so we're always looking
And
for.
we have listened to any feedback we've gotten, and not a ton, but what we've gotten, we changed episode format. We went from an hour to half an hour.
Shorted the
Shortened
intro.
the theme. Yeah, I got recommendation for that. So reach out to us, and we'll definitely change the show if we see fit. We're not going to change everything, of course, but everything we've gotten so far has been good.
We'll figure out something for like live casting and that is something I think is kind of the next step. It will help, especially on platforms like YouTube and even on Facebook to a certain degree, because you can watch a video versus just listening to an audio. So
and I've been trying to make sure for the Facebook audience, like, I'm trying to link everything back to YouTube, or to like, we're on SoundCloud, of course, but it's like, I'm glad that over the year we went from exclusively like SoundCloud and YouTube to now we're on, was it Buzzsprout? So we're on Google Play, iTunes. We're in a lot of different places now, which is pretty cool. It's pretty easy to find us.
We're like the third search on Google.
Nice. We're searchable on Google. I mean, Science Talks, that was
That was just a nightmare.
It was just so hard to find it. You
Jurassic
tell your
Aliens.
friends. Yeah, we always had to say a very specific name. You couldn't just type in Science Talks Podcast, but you can type in the Digression Method, and you'll find us anywhere.
Anywhere and everywhere you have the internet.
And if you got the internet,
Anywhere
you can
and
listen,
everywhere.
you can complain.
Visa and
can
MasterCard
revise.
are accepted, which is 250 million locations across the world.
You actually know?
I used to work for banking.
Alright, we're 250 billion locations around the globe.
Yeah. There'll be people that are questioning, like, there's not 250 million locations across the world. There are definitely 250 million businesses across the world.
There are
that's
far
small.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
there are far
that many
more
businesses.
than that.
Yeah.
But how many accept all cards?
Yeah.
That
Well,
would be
Visa
the
and
question.
MasterCard, those are the two biggest acceptable. This has gone on too far. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We got some plug holes.
We digress. But make sure to send any of your criticism to the digress. Or now I'm like what? What is all it?
Criticism, comments.
Yep.
Questions.
Anything
Concerns.
to
Feedback.
TheDigressionMethod at gmail.com.
Yeah.
We're on Twitter.com/digression5for1, Twitch.tv/TheDigressionMethod, and on SoundCloud.com/TheDigressionMethod, which we gotta stream on our Twitch. We
should.
I don't think
One
we've
of these
done
days.
it
Twitch,
once.
Twitch is an untapped market. It's one that we're not using just yet, because they have that new Twitch Life now, where you basically it's not
IRL.
about video games. It's just about you.
And even before that, I mean, you could do like talk shows, but a lot of times it was like a gaming talk show or something. I never saw just a random podcast, but
Or the creative
I wish
ones
that we
where it's
had a
like
nice-
painting and stuff like that.
yeah.
When we go video,
Creative.
we're gonna have to like bring that desk over. We're gonna have to be like,
Because
get some
I do
nice-
have a fatty, badass desk that we could sit behind and be
from
like,
the desk of.
yeah,
I'll put on like a
Digression
blazer.
desk.
I'll swoop my hair.
We'll
to the
have
left
to
or
have
right.
like
that
a-
spiffy suit.
Have to
Yeah.
have like a little section at least for like green screen.
Yeah, well, I got a big. Yeah, we'll get the video stuff up soon. Soon is very tentative, but soon.
Just a video of a green screen that you can still
Yeah.
see is a green screen.
You're like, well, you're supposed to put a background on the green screen. Like,
No.
we're just sitting in front of a green screen. That's all.
No, that seems inauthentic somehow. I couldn't put a background there. I wouldn't want to trick you.
We're also on Facebook.com and Patreon.com/DigressionMethod, and that's all of our plug goal is for the show. And iTunes and Google Play.
Happy Halloween.
I was gonna say we kind of didn't talk about it. Happy Halloween, and of course, if you're going out there, if you're having a good time partying this weekend, or I'm sorry, this week, I should say, be safe. Make sure you call a taxi. Make sure you get an Uber wherever you're listening
Just
from.
shove candy in your mouth. Don't care if there's razor blades.
I mean, if you're gonna
go for it.
if you're gonna go to a party, then maybe plan to stay there. Make sure you have like a
Drink to accept. No.
if you're gonna take candy from strangers, preferably
Egg
don't go to the windowless
everybody.
vans that have candy written on the side of it. Like preferably.
Make sure that you dress up as a
Candy
clown
man
with
instead
an
of
actual
rape man.
chainsaw because people love clowns.
If you know a house that's giving out king-size candy bars, make sure you hit up social media. Make sure you tell people,
Tell
let them know
everybody, yeah, right.
that they got some king-size candy bars over at the Johnson's house.
Thanks for tuning in.
That is an endorsement I will support.
Have a good week.
Have a good night.
The universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding in all of the directions it can whiz. As fast as it can go, at the speed of light, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So remember, when you're feeling very small and insecure, how amazingly unlikely is your birth. And pray that there's intelligent life somewhere out in space, 'cause there's bugger all down here on Earth.